We tend to focus a lot on big chain parks with a lot of roller coasters, but today we're giving the smaller parks with less coasters some love. Here are 15 smaller parks with a standout coaster worth visiting in North America. Alright, I know what the thumbnail says, but when I say small park, I mean small in terms of the number of coasters that they have. Disney would be a good example. The parks are pretty huge, but since they only have a handful of roller coasters, it would qualify for this list. But spoiler alert, there are no Disney parks on this list because the roller coasters aren't quite good enough to justify the very expensive cost it is to go to a Disney park. I know I'm going to get some comments saying, well, where's King's Dominion? Where's Knott's Berry Farm? Or where's Wallaby Belgium? I'm only looking at parks in North America that have less than 8 roller coasters that are worth visiting. I'm going to separate these parks into 3 tiers: the if you can, try to, and absolutely must visit tiers. These tiers are separated based on the priority you should travel to these parks. Starting off with the visit if you can tier are parks that are lower on most enthusiasts' priority lists. These are parks that have unique coasters, but maybe not a record breaker or a top 10 roller coaster. They might be a bit out of your way. The first park on this list is Mount Olympus. Hades 360 is an awesome coaster here, and it would be an incredible standout if it wasn't so unbearably rough. Mount Olympus would probably be higher on this list, but the park also doesn't have the best track record with maintenance and upkeeping. They do have 3 other Woodies here though, in Cyclops, Pegasus, and Zeus, all with varying roughness and intensity. This park does have pretty low admission prices though, so if you are in the area, I would still recommend stopping by here to get a ride on these unique Woodies. Just make sure to bring some pain relief meds for all the rough coasters at this park. Up next within this tier is Indiana Beach, with 7 roller coasters. This is another park I didn't think would make this list, but it has some super unique roller coasters like Lost Coaster of Superstition Mountain, Steel Hog, which is a rare SNS El Loco model. Cornball Express and Hoosier Hurricane are probably the best coasters at this park. Some really solid Woodies with decent airtime. And then there's also the famous Schwarzkopf triple looping coaster, American Dryer Looping, that will supposedly be opening in 2023. Up next, we have Silverwood, located in Athol, Idaho, which is really far off the beaten path for just about everyone, but it still has some solid, unique coasters to offer. Aftershock is one of the few giant inverted boomerangs left in the world, built by Vekoma. Stunt Pilot is an intense RMC Raptor, and they have a couple of good Woodies in Timber Terror and Tremors. Like I said, it's far off the beaten path, so it's probably not super high up on a lot of enthusiasts' priority lists, but definitely a park that every American enthusiast should try to get to at least once in their lifetime. Continuing on up the tier, we have Waldameer next with 5 roller coasters. Ravine Flyer 2 is the obvious standout here. It's an amazing airtime-filled Gravity Group Woody. It has an incredible view of Lake Erie from the top of the lift hill, goes over the road, and is filled with airtime. And it's not too rough if you're sitting near the back. The only other adult coaster they have here is Steel Dragon, which is a Maurer spinner, and they have 3 other kiddie coasters, so this park doesn't have too much to offer outside of Ravine Flyer 2. But if you are in the area, it's definitely worth a stop to ride Ravine Flyer 2 alone and visit Waldameer. And the last park within the if you can visit tier is Nickelodeon Universe at the Mall of America, and this is the one in Bloomington, Minnesota, which is really close to Valley Fair. So if you're going to Valley Fair or you're near there, it's definitely worth a stop at this park, and it doesn't take too long to get all the credits here. The standout at this park is SpongeBob's Rock Bottom Plunge, which is a decent-sized Gerstlauer Eurofighter. They also have an Intamin half-pipe in Avatar Airbender, and a Gerstlauer spinner in Fairly Odd Coaster. Again, nothing super unique at this park, but definitely worth a stop if you're in the area or if you're visiting Valley Fair. Now, breaking into the next tier, we are looking at parks that you should really try to visit at some point in your life. I give these parks a slightly higher priority than the parks in the previous tier, due to having either a record-breaking or super elite standout worth riding, or just having a better lineup overall. The first park within this tier is Fun Spot Atlanta, and the only reason that it's in this tier is because of Air Force One. Now, this is an incredible RMC that's set to open in 2023 at this point, and it looks like it could be a top-tier RMC and possibly a top 10 roller coaster in America. This is a really small park, and they only have a couple other kiddie coasters, so you're really only here for Air Force One. But with it likely being a top-tier RMC, it's totally worth a stop here if you're in the area, if you're passing by, and especially if you're visiting Six Flags Over Georgia. It's definitely worth your time to stop at Fun Spot Atlanta so you can get a ride on Air Force One, possibly one of the best RMC creations to date. Up next within the tier, we have lake compounds, and this is really similar to Waldameer in that they have a really good standout wooden coaster in Boulder Dash, which is a CCI with really good airtime and supposedly one of the best night rides in the world. They also have a few clone coasters. They have a Skyrocket 2 and Phobia Fear coaster. They have Zoomerang, which is a boomerang, and a really rough Woody and Wildcat that may or may not be worth your time riding. Next, we have Kentucky Kingdom, and they have 6 roller coasters at this park, but the 2 main standouts here are Lightning Run and Storm Chaser. Both of these coasters have really strong ejector airtime, so if you're an airtime lover like I am, you're going to definitely love some of the rides at this park. They also have a Gravity Group Woody and Kentucky Flyer that's really fun for all ages. And they have a few other coasters that aren't super well liked, like T3. But nonetheless, Kentucky Kingdom is definitely worth a stop if you're a coaster enthusiast. And it's only about an hour-and-a-half drive from Kings Island or Holiday World. So you can easily add this park to a coaster road trip. Next within this tier, we have Adventureland, and they have 7 roller coasters. Monster is the big standout here at this park, which is an incredible Gerstlauer Infinity coaster from what I've heard. I haven't personally been here, but I've heard great things about Monster. They also have a 40 Free Spin and Dragon Slayer and a couple older Woodies and Tornado and Outlaw to round out the lineup here at Adventureland. It is a little bit more expensive and it is a bit off the beaten path, but it's still worth a trip out here to get these credits and to ride Monster especially, so Adventureland definitely deserves to be in the try to visit tier. And the last park I think should be in the try to visit tier is the Nickelodeon Universe at the American Dream Mall, and this is the one in East Rutherford, New Jersey. They have 5 roller coasters here, the main standout being TMNT's Shellraiser, which is an amazing Gerstlauer Infinity with launches, a vertical lift hill, 7 inversions, and the record for the steepest beyond vertical drop at 121.5 degrees. All of this is inside of a mall, too. It's pretty amazing if you ask me. They also have Sandy's Blasting Bronco, a forceful Intamin multi-pass LSM launch that is a great supporting coaster. Like Nick Universe at the Mall of America, they have an Intamin half-pipe here and a Gerstlauer spinner. Now, from what I've heard, this isn't the most well-run park. Prices are really expensive, and they're not really up to date on whether rides are open or not, so be really wary. Make sure to check out their website before you visit so that you don't go during a time of planned maintenance for any of these rides. And it's probably worth going on the weekend to ensure that everything's going to be open. So just be wary when you're visiting these Nickelodeon Universe parks within these malls. Now finally, we're getting into the top tier, which is the absolutely must-visit tier. These are parks that either have both a high-quality park or guest experience, or an elite lineup or super elite standout coaster worth checking out. The first park within this tier is Knoebels, with 6 roller coasters. I've heard such great things about Knoebels, and I'm really excited to visit there for the first time next summer. Phoenix is the obvious standout, which is a really old, relocated roller coaster that has buzz bars and allows some incredible airtime. There's a reason this is rated one of the best wooden roller coasters, if not the best wooden roller coaster in the world, just because it combines a really classic old layout with buzz bars, so you can get some really crazy, like standing airtime almost. They also have a few other noteworthy roller coasters here as well. Impulse is a really interesting Zero with a vertical lift hill and a vertical drop, which is really cool. They also have Twister, which is another solid wooden roller coaster. These are also incredible night rides, and Knoebels just has such a cool feel to it. It doesn't cost very much to come here. It's not very far from Hershey Park. I think it's only like a half an hour away. So you could easily visit here in an afternoon or an evening, although it might be worth coming here for a full day. There's also a ton of other like smaller flat rides that a lot of kids would enjoy. The food prices are really reasonable, which is probably the only park I can say this about on this list. So Knoebels has so much going for it, not just the coasters, and it's an absolutely must-visit park. The next park within this tier is SeaWorld Orlando, and they have 7 roller coasters as well. Mako is their standout, one of the best B&M hypers in America, has a great setting over the water, and it's loaded with floater airtime. It's worth coming to this park for Mako alone, and there are a lot of good quality roller coasters to back it up too, such as Manta, a B&M Flyer, Icebreaker is a surprisingly intense Premier shuttle launch coaster, Kraken is a B&M Floorless, and of course we have Pipeline, the surf coaster, opening in 2023. It'll be super interesting to see how the next generation of stand-up coasters will fare with the public. The seats move up and down with the G-forces on these new trains, and they have vest restraints, so hopefully they'll be more comfortable than those older stand-ups. But this is yet to be seen. It'll be interesting to see what everyone thinks of this next year. And the next park in this tier is Silver Dollar City. It's worth noting that I didn't rank the parks within these tiers because they all have different things going for them and everybody appreciates parks in different ways, but Silver Dollar City is probably one of the best theme parks in America for sure. And they have some incredible roller coasters and really unique ones too. Outlaw Run is a topper track Woody that goes out into the woods. I hear great things about Outlaw Run. Some say it's a top tier RMC. It's definitely one of the best night rides in the world for sure. They also have one of 2 Mach Extreme Spinners in the world currently with Time Traveler. It has a 90-degree drop straight out of the station, so this is such a cool ride. These 2 coasters alone make it worth the trip to Silver Dollar City, but the cinnamon bread and the theming and just how the park looks and how the staff are, from what I've heard, are just phenomenal. You gotta get a visit out to Silver Dollar City. There are 5 other coasters here too. Thunderation's a really awesome mine train. You also have Powder Keg, which is an S&S air launch that's really solid. Wildfire gives you incredible views of the mountains. Silver Dollar City is an absolute must visit, top tier park in America for sure. Of course, how could I forget Holiday World? They have 5 roller coasters here, 4 of them being extreme. Holiday World may not have that many coasters, but the quality of the coasters here are just incredible. And this is one of the only parks in the world that I know of that still offers free drinks, free sunscreen, free parking, and it probably has one of the best wooden roller coaster collections in the world. Voyage is a huge standout here. It's easily one of the best wooden roller coasters in the world. One of the longest and tallest drops on a wooden roller coaster. It's fast, has a really long ride time. It has great intensity as it's a terrain coaster and continues to go downhill towards the end of the ride. And the Voyage has the most airtime of any wooden roller coaster in the world, with 24.2 seconds. That's only 3 seconds behind Steel Vengeance, which is just crazy to think about. They also have the Legend here, another great, really long Woody that has really strong laterals. Raven is another great wooden roller coaster here. And then they have Thunderbird, which is a launched B&M wing coaster, and one of the best at that, and is a great supporter here. You gotta spend a day and get out here to Holiday World. And a Voyage night ride is supposedly one of the most crazy and incredible coaster experiences you can have in the world. And the last park I'm going to talk about in this video and in this absolutely must-visit tier as a roller coaster enthusiast is Universal's Islands of Adventure. They have 5 roller coasters here, but the main standout and the main reason you got to come down here is to ride both Velocicoaster and Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. Velocicoaster is largely considered one of the best roller coasters in the world, with intense launches, airtime, the top hat, the Mosasaurus roll over the water, and incredible theming. It's worth coming out here just for this coaster alone. Why would you come down to Orlando and go to Disney when you can go here? I much prefer Universal over Disney for their coasters, and the pricing isn't quite as outrageous as Disney from what I've seen. Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure is also one of the best themed roller coaster experiences in the world. It's definitely more tame than Velocicoaster, but is more immersive with the theming, and if you enjoy Harry Potter, you will absolutely love this ride. Even if you don't like Harry Potter, you'll still love this ride. 7 launches, a backwards section, and a drop track are all featured on this ride. There's a reason it cost $300 million to build. Rounding out the top 3 at this park is Incredible Hulk, which is a pretty intense B&M sit-down coaster, definitely worth a ride. So that's all I have for the top 15 smaller parks with a standout coaster worth visiting in North America. Again, this is with less than 8 roller coasters. Comment down below if you've been to any of these parks or if you think there are any parks that should have been on this list. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more roller coaster content, and ring the bell for notifications so you can get notified every time that I upload. I hope every single one of you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Enjoy the ride, guys.